Welcome back. Today I have an update with my worm totes, starting with the actual regular totes. I've had some issues with these totes being a little too wet and clumpy, so this week is the week I'm going to make the decision as to whether I'm going to harvest this or not. Got quite a bit of worms. I had a worm ball sitting at the top of the bubble wrap. And you can see around the edges how it's a lot drier around the edges than where the bubble wrap was. And as I comb through the mixture and fluff it up, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of food. There was still a lot of cardboard, but the consistency of the castings had really dried out. So I didn't feel the need to immediately harvest this bin as I had in the previous week. So I just will give this one a good feeding, kind of a medium feeding in terms of moisture content. It's going to be some apples and carrot tops that I had frozen. Oh, and I had a few banana peels that I had left over from making dessert, so I added those in too. And since the castings were drying out, I added a bit more of the cardboard to it to add some place for the moisture to go to. And once the cardboard was added, I put a layer of bubble wrap, and I opened it up this time. With adding the cardboard, I didn't want to dry it out too much, so I'm trying to keep as much moisture in. Moving over to my second regular tote. Now this one, from appearances, the top of it looked a lot wetter than its sister bin. It didn't have the edges as dried out, but there were some drier areas. Overall though, this bin looked a lot better than it had in weeks. The material was less clumpy, more of the fluffy, cakey material that I prefer it to be. So I was really happy with these bins, and I don't believe that I will have to harvest these anytime soon. So I gave these bins a good mixing. I wanted to make sure there weren't any clumps stuck between the grooves at the bottom of the totes before I gave these a feeding. And it will get a feeding just the same as the other bin, with the carrot tops and the apples, and then adding a layer of cardboard over the top to keep the moisture in the bin now that it seems to be drying a bit better. And I opted to open up the bubble wrap on this bin as well too. Hopefully this decision won't cause the bins to become over wet like they had been trending towards all through the summer. Heading over to the Vermi bag totes that I have. Now this bin, the material is closer to what I prefer. It's a lot fluffier. It's not too dry, not too wet. I have a lot of material in here as these bags did recently restart, but overall they were in good condition, so I just fed them up with the carrot top and apple and banana like the other bins. And same goes for the sister Vermi bag tote. The material in this bin was actually better than the material in the other bin, but still just right consistency. The worms in the material looked really good as well too. So for this one, there wasn't really much to do since it had just been restarted, but feed up the bin again and cover it back up. Now for the restarted bins, I'm not adding cardboard due to a moisture level issue. I'm adding it to raise the level of contents in the bins. And lastly, the Vermi Bag Mini. Now this bag had some worms at the top on the bubble wrap, but as you look at the top, you can see how much moisture is being held in the very center where the bubble wrap was. There is a lot of cardboard all at the top level. Basically, the distance that I put my hand down is mostly all cardboard before I hit the next level of food. So everything is still a bit mushy in this bin, but the worms still are traveling towards the top. So I didn't want to do anything special with this bin either, as the worms still looked happy and healthy and moving around. I also didn't have a lot of beetles in this bin, so it received the same feeding as the other bins and got the grit and was closed up. And just like with the regular totes, I'm adding cardboard to this one for the moisture reason. I don't need to raise the level, but it is a bit wetter, so I want to make sure I control that. I chose to keep the bubble wrap in the middle due to the moisture level in this bin. And with that concludes this video. I do hope you've enjoyed the content, and thanks for watching.